Okay, this is now the 5-minute tarot for the 13th of December 2017. And today is a continuation and the second part of what I did yesterday. Because a few days ago, I did something about how to solve any problem. And a couple of people, or a few people, had asked questions about how to apply the idea in a practical way. So yesterday we looked at if somebody is suffering from cancer or drinks too much or they have business problems, how do you fix that problem? And yesterday I spoke about how we can't change people to suit ourselves. And this is the second part, having to do with, as I mentioned in the first video, about leaping forward to wholeness and unity and starting from there, rather than having your problem and trying to solve it from that position, because then you take the problem with you into the future or into the solution. So yesterday I was saying we can't change people to suit ourselves, and this is a good thing. So let's say we've got somebody who has a business problem, and they wake at 4 a.m. and they're panicking because they imagine everything's going to go wrong, or they imagine what could go wrong. What do you do there? How do you use the idea of unity and its reflection to solve that problem? And I think what we do first is we've got our notebook, and I mentioned yesterday, have a notebook where you write down your strategy, and I get to strategy at the end. But I think what we do in our notebook, the first thing we write down is number 1, or point 1, there is cause and effect. This is what we're dealing with. It's not our willpower, and it's not fate, and it's not this God who likes you or dislikes you and is going to cause you problems. There's cause and effect. And the problem that we experience is an effect. It's an outcome or a result. It's an effect. It's not a cause. The problem has no power. It's got no creative power. And it's got no power. So the person with cancer, it's easy to think that the cancer controls you and it's going to develop. But if we can understand this cause and effect, and that because the original unity is harmonious and things fit together, something that is disharmonious like cancer or alcoholism, that doesn't belong in unity. It can't belong there. So the idea is that there's cause and effect, but the problem that we experience, the thing that we want to change, is an effect that has no creative power, that has no power. It just seems as if it's got power, and as if it's making decisions, and as if it's got an intelligence that can enable it to do what it has to do. Somebody's knocking or banging around upstairs. Okay, so the idea is that the effect of the problem, it has no power, it just seems to have power. The creative power is in the original. It's not in the reflection. So for an example of that is if you pick up a rose and you can cut your finger on the thorn of the rose. But if you look at the rose in a mirror and rub your finger on the thorn in the mirror, it doesn't cause a cut. So we've got the original and we've got its reflection. And what's in the reflection can't hurt you and doesn't really exist. You just think it exists, or you give it power by believing in it. But with this in mind, then the cancer and the alcoholism, they exist in the reflection. They exist in the realm of effects, not in the realm of reality, or not in the original realm. So if you hit yourself with a hammer, the pain that let's say you're banging your thumb with you're hammering in a nail and you miss and you hit your thumb. The pain that you have or that you experience is an effect, and you react to the pain in your thumb, and so it's as if it's easy to think that the pain in your thumb is creative or has power because it makes you do certain things. It makes you run to the kitchen and run water over your thumb, or it makes you yell and scream and curse at the hammer and so on. So it seems to be creating a reaction, but you don't have to react that way. And maybe what you do is you hit your thumb, you think to yourself, I should be more careful. And you don't need to experience great pain. You can sort of ignore it and recognize that next time I'm going to be more careful. So your analysis, or the way you handle the situation, can produce a new result. But it's not like a creative power. So that's why I'm saying step one in our strategy notebook is to recognize or remind ourselves that there is cause and effect, or that there's unity and its reflection, or maybe there's reality, which is unity, and the illusion of reality. And the illusion of reality is what we get when we hit our thumb with a hammer. Even though it seems real, it's not actually as real as other things. Okay. So I said before that if you start with or from the problem, you take that problem or some aspect of the problem, you take it with you into the solution or into the future. And then I said, don't do this. Don't start with the problem. What you do is you leap forward. You heave your thinking, your understanding into unity, or into the idea of wholeness that we know exists. And once you get into the frame of mind, or get into the understanding that there is unity, there is actually unity, there is wholeness. So your mental processes are within the idea of wholeness, or you connect with wholeness, or you relax and think, okay, there is such a thing as wholeness, and I'm already there. Otherwise, it wouldn't be wholeness. So I'm already there, and I'm going to, within wholeness, I'm going to make my list. So you're in, and it has to do with the state of mind that you're in, and we can think that there's the body, but the body is the result of the way we think, and so the idea that we imagine or we connect with the idea of unity and wholeness. And when you feel connected with it, that's when you make your list, knowing that whatever it is that you want to achieve, or whatever it is that you want to do, is already done. So if we can, in some way, connect with wholeness, or locate our thoughts in the realm of cause, not in the realm of effect, and we know the difference. So we want to go to the idea of cause. So when we're in the realm of cause and creative power, then what we imagine or what we have ideas about, that's what's important. And I'm reminded, there's a quote by Goethe, the poet, the German poet, and he said something along the lines of, when you have ideas or there's something you want to achieve, nature is going to conspire to bring it about. And that's what Goethe said. And he was a Virgo, so he ought to know. Okay, so he says, Goethe says, if when you have an idea of something you really want, then nature will bring it about. It's not your own personal willpower or your personal force or power or your will or your intention that makes it happen. It's already done because you thought of it in the realm of cause when you were connected with the realm of cause. And so it's going to appear in the reflection. And it's a bit like life is going to express itself anyway. Even if you do nothing, life is still going to express itself. It's like the sun shines, whether it's on the other side of the earth or whether it's cloudy, it's still, the sun shines away and doesn't really care whether we recognize it or not. So life is going to express itself. And what we're doing when we're connected with wholeness and making our list, and it's kind of like what we do is we want to become better. We don't necessarily want to be perfect, but if we can become better tomorrow or this afternoon, better than we are this morning, that's improvement. So life is going to express itself, and what we're doing is we're choosing the form that the expression will take, and it's life that does the work. All we need to do is choose. So the fellow with the business problems, he recognizes his cause and effect, and it's 4 a.m. and I'm awake. First thing I'm going to do is remember this cause and effect. So these problems that I'm imagining, they don't have any power. They're imaginings. They don't actually have creative power or power to influence things, but cause and wholeness, that has power. So I'm going to go to my state of mind of wholeness. And when I'm there, I'm going to figure out what I want to do so that I can make my situation better or make the business better. So you choose what you're going to express or the form that the expression is going to take, and you make a note of it in your strategy book. So strategy, I finally got to strategy. The word comes from a Greek word that means the art of the general. And when you think of a general in an army, it used to be, the original French idea was the captain general. In English, we call him the head of the army is the general, but it used to be the captain general, because the general, we know the difference between general and specific, right? So the general was somebody who had an influence and had control or had input in a whole wide range of activities. So he was a general. He wasn't a specialist. And that's why the captain general is the one who's got the deciding influence, or who makes the decision in multiple different areas. And strategy, because you're the general and you're making decisions, your starting point is defensive rather than offensive. Okay, so you're the general, you're given a whole bunch of problems, a whole bunch of situations. You're given the situation, and then you decide what you're going to do about it. So with a businessman at 4 a.m, he's supposed to be a general. He's using strategy. So he's thinking, okay, I've got this and this and this. I've got these 3 problems. How am I going to handle them? Because the strategy that you develop is set by the problem that you face right now. So if the businessman wakes at 4 a.m. and he is concerned about, he was supposed to get a phone call yesterday and they didn't call. And now he's worried that they're never going to call or they're going to change everything. So the strategy relates to dealing with what's he going to do about the phone call that didn't happen. So he's being defensive, not offensive. He's not going to go out and cause problems for people. Because with strategy and in your notebook, you're not setting objectives and working out the best way to achieve them. The point of strategy is to get to a better place than you would have got without strategy. So in the same way that I think yesterday I spoke about, we can't control people, but we can want them to be a better version of themselves. So in the same way, if we apply the same method to ourselves, then we want us to be better as a result of our strategy than we would have been if there had been no strategy. We know that life is expressing itself and we get to choose the form, and that's it. And if we can recognize that life is going to express itself, we get to choose the form, life does the work, then what's going on with problems that we think we have, it's about life that's bigger than we are expressing something. It's not, when we're dealing with a problem, it's not a small personal me doing something. It's what's going on is life expressing, and I get to choose the form that it's going to take. And if I write it down in my notebook, in my strategy book, it's going to help it appear and be produced in the reflection, because it already exists within unity. And one last point, there was a there was a General Eisenhower in the Second World War who led the American troops, and then he became President Eisenhower after the war. And he was the one who I said that, and this is a takeaway for you: plans are useless, but the planning is essential. So when you write down your list, recognize that it's useless, but the fact that you're actually thinking about it and having a strategy and being defensive and figuring out how to make small improvements or big improvements, that's what's essential. Okay, that's something for you to think about. If you agree or disagree, if you have comments, if you've got follow-up stuff, let me know, and we'll take it from there. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.